important themes in King Lear. Oh, there's so many of them. Power.
Authority and power.
Power.
The power and authority.
Power and authority. Authority.
Aging, of course.
Generational change.
Age.
Aging.
I think another theme is chaos.
Chaos versus reason.
Responsibility.
Honor. Loyalty.
Blindness, sight, and insight.
Bad decisions. Bad decisions.
Unintended consequences.
Wisdom versus foolishness. Wisdom.
Foolishness.
Fate.
Fortune and her wheel.
Family.
Sibling rivalry.
Fatherhood.
Compassion.
Love.
Lust.
Redemption.
Hope.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Cruelty.
Betrayal.
Treachery.
Identity.
Who am I?
Self-fashioning.
Who am I?
Insanity. Madness.
Reconciliation. Nothing.
Nothingness.
The stage is a world of possibilities, and the set is the visual equivalent of what the play is about. So the style is literally emerging from this bare stage. But this is a world of chaos, a world where people are willing to poison a sister, murder her, go to war, be savage to attain and keep authority. And I want a heightened sensibility. I want people to be raw and vulnerable and wear their hearts on their sleeves because they're clutching, they're clawing, they're grasping, they're gouging. And this is what I'm trying to get the actors to do, to be larger than life.
It is considered one of, if not the greatest of Shakespeare's tragedies, certainly the most tragic of his tragedies. And so, like I tell people about how funny rehearsal was, and they look at me with these strange faces like, it's King Lear, how is it possibly funny? But I was laughing out loud in a lot of the production recordings that I saw. And I think making sure that there are lighter moments is really, really important, because otherwise these 3.5 hours will drag. If it sounds like a sexual innuendo, it probably is a sexual innuendo, so go with it. There are crude and funny moments. Shakespeare was entertaining his audience. They didn't come there to be bored. My advice would be to entertain and to make sure that you're having a lot of fun with it, because that'll come across. That, and to also just make sure that you know what you're saying. There are some lines, like some of the Fool's lines I still don't understand, and certainly poor Tom's lines. Injecting your own meaning into the lines, whether that's through inflection or gestures, it'll come across. As long as you can find some kind of meaning in it, then it'll come across to the audience.
Well, I have to tell you the honest truth. I haven't the vaguest idea of what happens to the fool.
I think there's a lot of different interpretations. Shakespeare doesn't really tell us. Obviously, we went with one, which is the fool leaves. That was my idea, but it was something that I developed with the rest of the cast and with Jason. And I think it works, because he goes into Act 3, scene, I think it's scene 6, and he asks the king a joke, a pretty obvious joke. I've chosen to play it like he said it before, like one last test, and the king just completely misses it. And I think that's the point when the fool realizes that his attempts to keep the king sane with humor have completely failed. So he really becomes unnecessary. So he leaves. But there's other interpretations too. One other idea that we toyed with just a little bit was the idea that the fool got sick during the storm and died. Like he died of hypothermia, or he just basically couldn't go on. Other plays have had him die during the storm or be killed by Lear. Sometimes he's hanged. I like to think that he's sitting on a beach somewhere, tanning, just chilling.
I really wasn't familiar with the different ways of eye gouging, so when we hired the fight choreographer, He said, well, how do you want it done? We can have the eyeballs fall on the floor. We can have we can have them sucked out with a vacuum cleaner. I've heard about others it being done with the heel of a shoe, which is what I anticipated. I thought Cornwall we're going to tip back Gloucester, and he or his spouse are going to go like this with the heel of their foot, which I find great. But we're going with the eyeball being taken out and flung on the stage, and the actors squishing it. Oh, and blood. Kings don't retire. Don't get me started. The parallel to beginnings and endings is particularly poignant because I'm leaving. So I see that in the play. The beginning of all the turmoil, the chaos, the rebirth of people, and the new beginnings for Great Britain once Edgar takes over. And I apply this, of course, to Tim and me, because we've been collaborating since I've got here in 1986. And he's up there in years, I'm getting there, and I'll be getting Social Security, so I have some sort of empathy with King Lear.
You need an older actor because the actor needs to have experienced enough of life to know what it feels like to lose and to be betrayed and to make huge mistakes and then have to pay for them.
And is it like Maritime? Of course it is. And many times when I'm preparing for it and getting ready to go on stage, I'm thinking, this is exactly it. When I was off stage getting ready to go on for the flower scene, the mad scene, part of what I see with Lear there is that he has shed all sense of responsibility. He doesn't have to do all this sort of stuff. The only thing left for him to accomplish in that scene is to get past this idea that he is an authority that metes out punishment. And when he pardons Gloucester for adultery, he's finally shed himself of that last thing. And it's an exhilarating feeling. When I'm off stage, I'm thinking, I'm going to retire.
This is the first time I've ever team taught a course, and it's been really wonderful. The kind of energy between, among everybody bringing their own skills and talents, but it just feels like we can kind of, somebody has an idea and somebody can have another idea, and I think the energy among all of us, I think it's been fun in the classroom too, that we have to be able to think on our feet and you have to be able to be flexible. But I would do this again in an absolute heartbeat, and I would recommend it to anybody who wants to try it. It's been an absolute privilege to work with both Jason and Tim. I've cherished the experience. It's been incredibly fun. I think the class has been pretty unique because we've been so, it's been really lively, bringing all the different student energy and all the different student interests, and to really, to walk the walk, text, production, and it's been great, really great.
So it's like, wow, this is new, this is different, this is exciting, and they've discovered it.
But very satisfying when it's finally done.